Hey guys, welcome back to Scrubbed In, the daily, weekly podcast.
Weekly.
It's a weekly.
Weekly, we don't do daily.
Fine.
Come on, man.
Welcome back to the weekly podcast. So today's topic, what we want to talk about is basically 2019 as a year in review. So we're going to be talking about life, work, religion, relationships, everything, and kind of tell you how we personally developed. But before we go on to, you may have noticed last few weeks Amz was on holiday in Bangladesh. How was that?
Oh, it was a good trip, man. Absolutely loved it. Went back to my roots.
Good.
I'm lucky, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't ever live that life out there. I could never live that life out there, man. But yeah.
Fine. So let's move on. So, in terms of 2019 as a year, I think the most important thing we can talk about is work. That transition from being a student to finally being a grown adult and working a full-time job, which the vast majority of medics do. Yeah. So you can go first and kind of talk about that transition.
For me, the transition was quite hard, man. So obviously, during medical school, I didn't really work. I worked the odd ambassador shift. I maybe worked a few summer shifts. Obviously, if you go back to one of the earlier episodes, you'll know how I did 5 shifts at Primark and left. I couldn't hack work at that time. But it hit me hard, because I'll tell you why it hit me. It's because you don't have time. You don't have time to do other things. And then suddenly you have to start balancing 45 plus hours with everything else around life. And I found it quite difficult transitioning into that every day going into work.
I think people might be asking, is it true? Do doctors work 50, 60, 70 hours? Is that possible? Is that a myth?
No, that is more than possible. What about when we signed the locum agreements that says you agree to opt out of the European working hours maximum?
Fine.
Absolutely. So wait, what's my longest stint? Just if I go back to my A&E rota, if I did 10-hour shifts, I'd be easily doing 70 hours some weeks, man.
Yeah. So it's possible, guys. You can clear 70 hours. Because sometimes it's easy to throw out numbers that, do you know what, I've just done a 70-hour week. But there is truth to it. There is some substance. Yeah. And bear in mind, it's just not doctors. Bankers do it. Lawyers do it. So when you do hear these obscene numbers, it does happen. It's the nature of your job. Yeah. So in essence, from someone that used to go to lectures or clinical placements at hospitals here and there to suddenly doing 70 hours a week of hard, mentally straining work.
Yeah.
I think that's another thing you have to notice as a medic is the work may not be as laborious or laborious as other professions. We are conscious of that, but it's still running around. But it's the mental strain, like thinking on your feet for 70 hours in a week or nights. The mental strain is something you can't quantify. You know what I mean?
One thing that happened when I entered the world of working is I remember during med school you would sleep quite a lot after coming back from clinics and things like that. But once I started work, I'd come home and have naps, and I was like, what is this?
This napping business.
This napping business. I remember I called you once and you were like, I just woke up from a nap. I was like, yeah, me too, man. What is this? What is this new life?
This whole concept of naps. I was never a big fan. I used to wake up late, but I never used to nap throughout the day. But once I started working, this thing like after work, coming home and napping and waking up again was like, that's work. That's what work does.
It's an actual thing.
And bear in mind, I think that the other thing to know is the standard medical degree is 5 years. So we start work 2 or 3 years later than the average person that does a degree and starts work. And then sometimes we take a year out to the BSc, some people take a year out to a master's. So you're easily 24, 25 before you've had your first full-time job. People work as part-time, but no one has a full-time job. So that's transitioning. You've kind of left a good chunk of your adult life not working. And now you have
living that good student life. Think about student life. Student life is you've got minimal costs, minimal responsibility, councils and things that don't come after you for rent and things like that, or council tax or whatever. So you live with minimal responsibility and maximum time to do sports, to see friends, family, whatever you want. And then suddenly 70 hours per week is taken away from you.
I think for me, what was the most thing that hurt me was, in med school, remember, we used to wake up and there'll be days, I'm not feeling it, let's just bunk or let's go in. You can't do that anymore. You need to make sure you're up for that 8 o'clock handover. 8 a.m.
And you better be there.
And 8 a.m. doesn't mean 8 a.m. That means you have to wake up at like 6:30 a.m. to go into work. And there are days when you just wake up and you're like, I can't even bunk, but today feels like a day you want to bunk. Like, it feels right for a bunking day. You know what I'm saying? It's working. I'm getting the vibes of bunking, but you're not. You just can't. And you roll up to hand.
Do you ever just sit there when you wake up from bed and just sort of stare and be like, if I get fired, what happens?
Yeah, I questioned my life, and I was like, yeah, this is.
It happens a lot.
But I think what you said is quite important. You mentioned about the university sphere and having lots of time. We went to King's, as you may know. And I remember the older senior years used to mention is, especially at King's, and more so because medicine is at the guys' campus, we're so not alienated, we're so isolated and kept away from the other conventional degrees like law or whatever it is that were at Strand or Waterloo. We became in a bubble, and because we're here for 5-6 years, you're so isolated of what the real world is, what it means to have a job, what it is to be on the outside. It's basically doing 2 degrees and a bit. So we never had a real understanding of what it means to wake up, to go to work, to have the responsibilities of having your own house, paying your bills, paying your rent, unless you lived out. But we're in a bubble, in a very protected bubble. Even as a medic, you're very supervised and protected. Whereas, click of a finger, that Black Wednesday, one of our videos, have a look at what it entails. You're responsible for someone's. You're responsible for someone's life. You are now a doctor. One day before, you were isolated, you were protected, you couldn't really make mistakes. If you made mistakes, someone else took the hit for it. So this bubble bursts, and some people are not ready. They kind of thought, life is, let's be honest, it's not all roses and daisies and it's all nice. It is rough. It's straining. It's mentally straining. You're going to take a hit. Financially, all of a sudden, expenses goes up. People are buying cars, now you have to pay for insurance, you're getting fines, you have to pay for lunch, etc., etc.
Someone slashes your tire.
Guys, let me tell you what happened. My car windscreen got smashed, I had to pay for that.
Someone threw a brick at him.
And then they left the brick. Yeah, they left the brick on my windscreen for my car.
What are you doing?
That's 2019 for you.
I'd laugh if that was one of your patients.
Oh, nah, that's mad. That's bad for me. And then a few days ago, my tires got slashed, so I had to go and change that. But yeah, fine. So we kind of talked about work, and for me, I worked as a medical student. I did part-time work, which kind of helped me get through university. But it's a very different feeling to when you're working day and night, and it is a job. So that's one thing we learned.
I think the responsibility of being a doctor is a huge burden, because you have to think about it. So although I've done minimal shifts in Primark and places like that, my responsibilities were to fold clothes and rack it. No one would die.
Yeah, I agree. So that level of responsibility.
Exactly. For 70 hours or whatever, you have to be switched on, and it's with someone's life where a minute of doing something absolutely irrational could kill him. So it's the mental strain. I think
that's the first thing. The sheer responsibility or the sheer stress is what hits you. And rolling into work late or calling in sick or missing a day isn't that bad. Or when I used to work, but me missing a day or not calling into work, especially if I'm on call, the team takes a hit, the unit takes a hit. I'm on ITU now.
Yeah,
we can't afford. It's as bad as it is. Sometimes you can't afford someone going off sick because it just increases the workload, increases the pressure, and sometimes it becomes really unsafe. Luckily, it hasn't happened so far, and it's been good. But that's the nature of the way we are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So the other thing I want to kind of talk about, and you can talk about first, is the impact it has, or how did 2019 impact your social life in light of everything else.
So.
One, he got married, by the way. He got married and he disappeared for a year. I forgot who Amz was. I forgot how to spell his name, and I can't even spell his name.
This is why scrubbedin didn't come out.
Who's Amz? Like a distant memory of the first centile, first ranked guy.
It happened.
So how did it impact you socially?
You know what? So as soon as you entered the working life, becoming a doctor, the rota and all of that, it takes a huge shit, because like I said, 70 hours have been taken away. Okay, or let's reduce it, 48 plus hours have been taken away from you, minus the hours that you're sleeping, minus the hours that you're traveling. You're left with a small amount of time. And obviously at first I was nowhere to be seen because I spent all of that with family otherwise. But I mean, in terms of friend circles and things, so I used to see a lot of my friends and loads of different circles throughout the weeks. I mean, since starting work, I'd say I've seen my main circle from college, but I only see again once in a blue moon. I see you more than anyone else. See, that's how you know, yeah.
Thanks.
That's how you know, yeah.
So thank you guys. So I can't even thank you. I have to thank them, the people that tune in weekly, for giving us an opportunity to see each other on a weekly basis. How sad is that?
Exactly. This is the only reason I see him is because of this show. But yeah, and then the other startup, Medigate, sort of business meetings. Apart from those two things, it's absolutely minimum, man. I find time for gym. And otherwise, I spend the rest of my time with family, my wife, and those sort of relationships there.
I think.
But yeah, it's absolutely.
One the time goes, but it's like you're kind of social. You're social,
man.
Social.
You're struggling with that.
You know, my English deteriorates throughout the day, innit? So as the day continues, my English becomes really
recording
bad.
late.
So your social circle shrinks. Yeah. So at university, especially as a medic, you have 15, 20, 30. Remember, like our first few lectures, we used to have like a whole row. Like 15, 20 guys that were mates. We sit out. And all of a sudden it shrinks. Because one, people go to different places in the country. People move back home.
Exactly.
Go back to Jersey, Scotland, Wales, Cambridge, Oxford, Wales, everything in between.
Everywhere.
Reading, Leicester. So all your close friends or friends that you used to hang around with are all scattered. And you have got this responsibility of, when you're at home. And now I feel guilty if I don't spend time with my family. While at university, I was like, I'm going to be out all the time. Whereas now, I don't know if you become older, you have that transition where like, do you know what? It's
you want to be
nice
at home, isn't
spending
it?
time at home with your
Exactly.
family. It's nice having a cup of tea. I don't want to go out all the time. There were days, I'll be honest, where we'd be out. We'd leave the house at 6, 7 p.m. and I'll get back in 8 a.m. in the morning. Like, I'll be there out all night.
Exactly.
So, but your circle shrinks,
Yeah.
And you miss out on all of that. There's big groups, and you can think of how many times you try to organize something and it flopped, or like someone can't come in because you're on calls, or I'm on weekends, or you're on nights, or you've only got 9 days leave. So my leave on ITU is pre-assigned, so it's not a time I want to take it, it's a time they want me to take it.
Exactly. A&E was like that as well.
So there might be, you can easily go a year, and 2019 has been a year where I've not seen my closest friends for a whole year. Do you know what I mean? So that's something that hits me. So yeah, your social life takes a hit.
It does. People think studies cause it to take. I think you see more social circles, and they grow so much during that 5 years of medical school, and then suddenly it just reduces into a very.
People are trying to make time, and they can't make it. Even weddings. Like weddings have become really difficult to go to.
I missed a few, man.
Yeah, you've missed a few.
I missed a few because I just couldn't get leave. Where was I? I was working on acute medicine. I was on call. The thing is, you can't get leave approved when you're on call, and then not everyone wants to swap, obviously, because everyone's got their own lives going on. So I couldn't make a few friends' weddings, man, which was absolutely
and that's
heartbreaking.
And to be fair, the advantage of that is when you do go, a lot of people are going to be there, and you all catch up, and it's funny, man. One day you've seen everyone week in, week out, day in, day out, and then all of a sudden, as soon as you start working, or 2019 for us, you only see them at weddings and funerals. How sad is that?
Or through WhatsApp.
WhatsApp
groups.
And even then they don't reply. So it's a crazy time. So 2019, one thing we learned is you have less time to socialize, you have less time to go out with your friends. But the time you do, I think because you have such little time, I'll say the quality has gone up. Because think about time, there was time we were hanging around, chilling for the sake of chilling.
Yeah, because we just wanted to sit on a brick wall.
Do you know what I mean?
Or waste
but
time.
Now, it's more quality, and you enjoy it a lot more, and you feel a bit old, and
That's the thing. I think whilst the quantity of time we have has gone down, the quality of all time spent out of work, whatever we choose to do, we always fill it with doing certain things, isn't it? And the quality of that is very high. So yeah, and then comes in with that is how do you balance all the extracurricular things that you want to do? If you're a footballer, if you're going to be doing a podcast show, startups, creating educational platforms and all sorts.
So how did that affect you? Well, how has 2019, so 2018 we were still...
I'm asking the question for you first. Why do you always flip it on me?
2018 was good, yeah. 2019, you're working, entering, finishing F1, going into F2. The problem is, I don't know if it's a problem or not, it's you have already... So my advice before that is, whatever extracurricular you want to do, I don't mind if it's a startup, I don't you don't care if it's a freelance job or whatever it is. Start it before you start working.
Yeah.
Because once you're working, you always give yourself an excuse and you'll be tired. You know what, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it next week, I'll do it, and you'll never get around to doing it. So for us, we already had extra projects on, so we had the charity running, we had Medigate coming, we were developing it, we were having meetings, perfecting the website, sorting the portfolio out, sorting everything out, designing it, getting the marketing ready, getting the leaflets ready. The problem was there's not enough time to dedicate to the projects as much as you want or as much as you had as a student. But the more important thing, what I will tell you is, and I've experienced this countless times with the charity is very big now. And we have meetings with lawyers, solicitors, with, like leading professionals, with the Royal College of Obs and Gynae, with accountants. But they only work between 9 and 5.
Exactly.
We work between 9 and 5.
Yeah.
As a student or medical student, we have 9 to 5 pretty much free. So I can take a phone call, I can go visit them in the office. I can't do that no more. Imagine, is there any way you can be in A&E and have a meeting at somewhere for 2 o'clock or even answer the phone? So you can't do that anymore.
And you can't even leave at lunch because you might be called to an emergency or whatever.
So you don't have the luxury. And I remember when we were submitting our annual accounts for the charity, I had to take a call from the accountant at 2 o'clock. I'm on call in the middle of a crash call. I don't have that luxury anymore. So how do you grow it?
I thought you said you did the accounts in the crash call.
No, I'm not going to pick up to my accountant in the middle of a crash call doing CPR. But it's the luxury of time.
Yeah.
And because now you're working as a medic and sometimes you're on call, you can't do that. So 2019, I think certain things did take a hit. Certain things, if we're honest, did slow down.
They did.
Because we can't meet as often as we want.
Yeah.
We can't go to the bank and sort our accounts, etc. So 2019 for that is...
It's the nature of it. It's the nature of it, the job. The job does that as you become a doctor. You have to remember... being a doctor is what we all wanted, isn't it? It is the number one thing at the end of the day. But I think as 2019 developed, I think especially with me and yourself, is that we've learnt how to make it work. So when we are on call for a week, working 60 hours plus or what have you, how to make those additional hours that we have left absolutely the most efficient hours that we could possibly have. And we're quite organised now, so I think we've developed quite a lot to make it work. I think when I first started August as an F1, the only thing I was pretty much doing is working, taking naps, having dinner and sleep. I couldn't even go to the gym.
It's about survival. I think 2019, a good chunk of the year initially was a survival. Get through day by day. Don't kill anyone. Save lives. And
be safe.
Be safe. That's what it was.
Be safe. Yeah.
But as all things, you learn and you adapt, and then slowly, you may have noticed with the Scrubbed In podcast, Medigate, everything starts to pick up, and you learn how to manage your time.
Exactly. Think about it. So we're managing to do this podcast whilst being on A&E and ITU, probably the busiest jobs that you could get. So you have to question, where are those hours coming from? And we've got the same hours that you guys have. What it is just about efficiency. That's all it is.
Fine. So I think that was the biggest hit we took in 2019 in terms of extracurricular.
Yep.
It's the luxury of being able to do things on the go, being able to do things on the fly, or having them random meetings. You can't do anymore.
You just can't do it.
You just can't do it. But I'm looking forward, find how you get time or use your time better and solve it. It'll be a shame. The main thing is you can still do it. Yeah. It doesn't mean because you suddenly started working or started a job after a degree that was really intense, you have to stop doing everything. That would be the biggest mistake you can do.
Exactly.
I think these things were the things that kept me going when I had those awful nights, when I had those deaths, when I was at breaking point, when you're mentally broken down, the fact that, do you know what, I'm working on something really cool, I'm working on something that's going to save millions of lives, or I'm going to work on something that helps doctors across the country. That's what keeps you going. So somehow find a way, and I'm sure perseverance will pay off. Fine. What else 2019 would you want to talk about as a review? Or,
I think it was also a year where I realized in the working world that faith is quite easily practicable in the environment. I think I had the misconception that it'd be very difficult. But I think when you work as a team, right? When you genuinely work as a team, so you as an F1 work with other F1s, you cover them when they need cover, you help them when they need help. You find that especially so attending my prayers and everything like that I could do. I always had someone covering my back. I found that if I needed to go, for example, for my Friday prayers, I would actually raise it. I would just let the consultant know, is it okay?
So, a lot of people are scared to raise this. Like, you're at work and you're paid to be there and you're a doctor and you're running around saving lives, and all of that. How did you feel? Because I know a lot of people, so as Muslims, we pray 5 times a day. So, some people are like, my consultant, he's going to shout at me, or, do you know what, best not, I'll make up for it later, or I'll miss my prayer. How did you feel? Were you scared? Were you nervous? Were you just like, I don't care, I'm going to ask him, I'm going to demand it, I don't care, I'm in the middle of an operation, I'm going to leave and walk out and pray. Bear in mind, the religion does not teach you that. I'm giving you the worst scenario.
It doesn't.
How did you feel? Were you scared? What did you expect? And what happened?
You know what? I was given confidence by a good friend of ours, Noor. So he once said to his colleagues, I remember he said it like this. He said, I don't need a break. Don't even give me that hour break or whatever. Just give me 5 minutes, 5 times. Or not even 5 times. We don't work throughout the whole day from sunset to sunrise, do we? So just at three points of the day, just give me 5 minutes and that's all. And I think the consultant or someone turned around to him and said, are you crazy? You can have those 5 minutes and your lunch break. So that gave me a bit of confidence to know that people do work the system. People understand and are willing to help like that. So I was willing, and I never do it in a demanding attitude. I don't think you should be demanding at all, because a job is a job and you're in a contract, and once you sign, you signed. That's what you signed up for. But saying that, you have to remember you've got a lunch break, and then on top of that, you've got a team that you work with, and you need 2-3 minutes, 5 minutes at tops. And if you ask any consultant, they all will be willing. I remember, right? So vascular ward rounds were really long. On Fridays, I kid you not, started at 9. I'm still going at 12:30. And the Friday prayer starts in about 15 minutes, 12:45.
That's like ICU every day.
That's what I mean, exactly. Now, at first I was scared. And then I just sort of tapped the reg and I went, hey, mate, do you mind if we pause the ward round? And he was like, I thought you'd never ask. I'm hungry. I want to go lunch. And I was like, okay, you go lunch, but I'm going to go pray. Is that okay? And he was like, yeah, I'm going to go lunch then. I'll see you after.
Yeah.
And it was like...
Sometimes you have to get brave. And you have to, even my red the other day, because the consultant was busy.
Yeah.
And it's like, when IT gets really busy really quickly, you have to remember, we're dealing with the most unwell people in the whole hospital. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like 12 something and she's getting a bit peckish. She's like, let's just have lunch or whatever, but I don't know. And then I said, I love egging people on, that's my thing. So I was like, yeah, look, you're going to be a consultant soon.
Take charge, take lunch.
Let's take lunch. Bear in mind, all my consultants are lovely, like they are pro, they will join you for lunch. They're so she was like, you know what? If I don't go at a break, I'm just going to be really bad, really crap. And we just went. She's like, yeah, I'm going to go for lunch. Because I was like, yeah, of course. And you know what? The consultant was like, yeah, let's grab coffee. We'll finish the ward round. So this concept of, I think maybe in medicine and other workplaces, this fear of, you're my manager, whatever. But it's because we never broach the subject, so we're too scared to even raise it. But when you raise it, people are more comfortable and they're like, oh my God, go. Please go. Exactly. Take your time. You'd find that the response is amazing. So I would say, 2019 taught me when you have beliefs, don't forsake them, especially when you're Muslim. It's raise it. If it's an emergency and you can't go, that's different, and there are substances for that. But if you're free or you have work colleagues that will cover you, it's fine. It's like, do you know what I mean? It's a bit,
I think it's just about everyone is not about being scared, and everyone is willing. Everyone understands, and if you're coming out with it, people are willing to respect that. And it's about working routine. For example, over Christmas, I always offer, if anyone's working on Christmas and they celebrate that day, I'll cover for you.
Yeah, that's what I did. So I worked Christmas. Yeah,
so I'll cover that. I'll cover Christmas for you and all of the bank holidays, because that's a very special time for you guys. They're absolutely
saying that. Yeah. 2019, I couldn't celebrate.
He spent Eid at work.
When you make the snippets, this is the snippet. 2019 I missed Eid Salah. I missed it because I couldn't get off. No one wanted to stop with me, and they demanded I go in.
Who demanded you go in?
My team, because it was the unit, because we were struggling at the time, isn't it?
Right.
So, and people had leave booked and everything, and I couldn't even pray Eid, and I couldn't even celebrate it. And I work in Coventry, so I wasn't even home. It was so depressing. But I'm over it.
Okay, so sometimes it happens, alright? Sometimes it happens.
But the question, moving back is, don't be scared, ask for it. Even if it's not prayer, even if you need 5 minutes out to take a break, clear your head, you feel a bit run down, you feel a bit rough, people are there. We all look after each other. It's a teamwork effort, like Amz mentioned. So it's good. So if you need something, you don't need to be Muslim. You can be any religion. You need time out to pray, raise the subject, and you will be surprised. They're very supportive, and they will give you a space and time, and there will always be someone there to cover you. So that's one thing we did learn in 2019. To kind of wrap it up and talk about it, we can talk about how we developed personally, personal developments. Do you want to say a few things or what 2019 taught you?
I think coming into 2020 now, the things I say how I've developed as a person is I actually really enjoy my job. I really enjoy medicine now. It's no longer a task that I'm always stressing about, thinking about how to do this and that, and I'm really enjoying the job. I'm balancing my time really well now. So I'm managing to go to the gym, managing to see friends, managing to spend time with family, my wife and all sorts. So I find that I've got a good balance where my mental health is especially in a good position. It's where I want it, which I'm really happy with. So going forwards now, essentially I want to bring more content to especially Scrubbed In.
So what can people expect? Last few minutes, what can people expect from Scrubbed In for 2020?
So the guys that have been listening this far, they deserve to know, isn't it? So we've been working on a platform, right, where all of the resources and everything that's out there currently, right, it's all scattered out there. It's hard to get. For everyone that wants to get into medicine, right, we're bringing it into one place for you guys, so you guys can access it and hopefully access any sort of support and resources that you need to get into medicine. So that's one. Anything else that you can think that you want to bring to?
I would say not only that, we're creating a forum for everyone. Yeah. So any questions you have, I know there's lots of forums out there, but this is solely for medical students or pre-medical students. Yeah. Whatever question you want to ask onto the forum, discuss among yourselves, discuss with us. So it's a good platform where everyone can benefit.
So an important thing of that is that we're incorporating our sort of ethos. We think that it's not a dog-eat-dog world. Yep. There's room for anyone and everyone that wants to do medicine, right? You can say, well, there's only X number of places. Well, you can try the next year and most likely you'll get in. Anyone that wants to do medicine, I usually say, if you really want to, you can do it. So on our platform, on the forum especially, you can discuss anything and everything, and we're creating that community now. So all of you guys will hopefully come in onto our platform together, essentially.
And the final thing is, you're probably sick and tired of seeing me and Amz. From next month or soon, we're going to have loads of speakers, loads of guests, and I know we have loads of non-medics watching it. So we're not only going to have amazing doctors, amazing students, we're also going to have bankers, lawyers. We're going to be fighting, we're going to be discussing controversial issues, and to give you a broader scope. I know loads of you enjoy hearing the stories and the things we do get up to, so it will add another layer to the podcast, and we hope you will enjoy it. So comment below, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe, click the bell button, click notifications. If you want us to do anything, if you want a special guest, leave a comment in the leave a name in the comments below.
Leave a comment in the what?
Leave a comment.
Leave a comment.
I'm tired, man.
Below.
I've done 4 days of IT. So thank you once again. It's the first episode of 2020, talking about 2019. The other 2 we recorded before Amz went to Bangladesh. We'll hope to see you next week. So tune in every week, Sunday, 6 o'clock. We'll see you there.